Causes of World War II from 1918 to 1941. The Treaty of Versailles. The treaty was signed in 1918. The treaty formally ended World War I. However, Germany and Austria were blamed for the war and all the destruction caused by it. Therefore, this treaty treated Germany unfairly, according to the Germans. Germany was also forced to disband its military because of this treaty. As a result of being blamed, Germany and Austria-Hungary, their countries were broken up into because of this. The League of Nations was also established by the Treaty of Versailles. The League of Nations. The League of Nations was a union of Great Britain, France, United States, Japan, Russia, and Italy. The League of Nations was also an early form of the United Nations. However, the League of Nations did fail. This was due to the fact that it only took one country to stop or delay a vote on the issue. Another thing was the problem was that Great Britain and France kept giving in to Germany while Germany was violating many of the laws established by the Treaty of Versailles. Nationalism. Nationalism is the belief that people of a region are bound together by the land, their culture, language, and ethnic background. This also caused the formation of alliances. Germany signed treaties with Russia, Italy, and Japan. Great Britain and France also signed treaties with each other, and at this point the U.S. was staying out of all these affairs. United States. From 1918 to 1941. The Great Depression. Starting with the stock market crash in 1929, the Great Depression occupied much of the U.S.'s attention throughout the 30s and 40s, which kept the U.S. out of affairs going over in Europe and Asia. At this time, the United States was also practicing a policy called isolationism, which is where the U.S. put high tariffs on products coming into the United States so that more U.S. products would sell over expensive foreign products. Also, isolationism caused the U.S. not to sign treaties with Great Britain and France, and kept the U.S. out of much of the world's affairs until its entrance into World War II. The U.S., however, as a way to get itself out of a depression, started to sell weapons and other necessities for war to Great Britain and France to aid them in their fight against Nazi Germany. Another problem the U.S. was facing was relaxed security at some of its military bases because of the Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor was so devastating. Isolationism. Isolationism is the belief that you can take care of your own affairs without the help of the world, and you do not need to be involved in the world's affairs. The U.S. did practice this through much of the 1920s and 1930s. The impact of this was a Great Depression in the United States because they were not trading with other countries, and also it was a way of helping blind the U.S. to what was actually going on in the world, and that's what caused their entrance into World War II. The Soviet Union signed an alliance with Germany in the mid-1930s, saying that if and when Germany attacked Poland, the Soviet Union would do the same thing, and that when the two sides met, they would cease fighting and then not fight each other. The Japanese also attacked the Soviet Union through Mongolia, and the Soviet Union quickly beat them. Back within the borders of China. True to their word, when Germany invaded Poland in 1939, the Soviet Union did also. Stalin's forces were able to capture the oil-rich part of Poland before Hitler's Nazis could. Japan. After signing the Treaty of Versailles, Japan felt like it had gotten ripped off when it came to splitting up the colonies. Of losing side, Germany and Austria-Hungary. The greed caused Japan to invade China, which they did very successfully, and Japan turned to Russia, where they suffered a defeat. Then the Japanese turned its attention to the U.S. territories in the Pacific. Italy from 1918 to 1941. Italy had hurt feelings from World War II because, like Japan, Italy received very little land from the Treaty of Versailles, unlike the U.S., Great Britain, and France. Italy did elect a fascist leader named Benito Mussolini, who ruled over Italy for much of the period leading up to World War II. Mussolini became friends with the leader of Germany, whose name was Adolf Hitler, and Mussolini made many treaties with Hitler and formed alliances with the two countries. Italy then, starting in the mid-1930s, started to expand its territory into Africa and Greece. Germany. In 1939, Germany elected Adolf Hitler into power. Hitler was the head of the Nazi Party, and that ruled Germany from 1933 until Hitler's death in 1945. The Nazi Party had a grand plan for Germany, and that was restore the Reich back to how it was before World War One. To do this, Germany started the remilitarization process, or building up of its military again so that it could fight a war to defend itself. This, however, was against the conditions of the Treaty of Versailles. Another thing was the Third Reich, or the Nazis, thought that those who were Aryan, or people with tall blonde hair and blue eyes, were out of a superior race, and that the Jews were the lowest people on earth, and caused the downfall of the Grand Second Reich, and caused Germany World War I. To deal with the Jews, Hitler proposed a policy of ethnic cleansing and sent all the Jews he could find off to concentration camps that were located all over Germany, Austria, Poland, and Russia. Here the Jews were forced into labor for Germany or killed. Anschluss, the official annexing of Austria and Germany in 1938. This violated the Treaty of Versailles for several reasons. Because under the treaty, Germany was not allowed to acquire new territories. Anschluss also allowed Germany to put troops in Austria, which violated the Treaty of Versailles. The Munich Agreement. The countries involved were Czechoslovakia, Germany, Great Britain, and France. Germany started riots in much of eastern Czechoslovakia, causing martial law. Causing martial law to be declared by the Czechoslovakian government in the Sudetenland. As a result, Great Britain and France allowed Germany to take over Czechoslovakia to help stabilize the economy. In the invasion of Poland, Germany's takeover of Poland was very quick because of the Blitzkrieg, which is German for a lightning war. The invasion of Poland had always been a goal of Germany's too. However, the invasion was final straw for Great Britain and Germany because they warned Germany not to invade Poland or else war would be declared against Germany. The captured Poles were forced into labor throughout Poland, Germany, and Austria. Some of the people in these camps were part of cruel experiments and mass killings. Pearl Harbor. Leading up to Pearl Harbor, the United States and Japan were in the middle of a peace talks between the two countries. This is why when Japan attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, it was a surprise. The peace talks had been going well until the Japanese ambassadors suddenly left. The fact that the U.S. military bases were not on high alert did not help either. The attack on Pearl Harbor was meant to cripple the U.S. defense network in the Pacific so the Japanese could expand their empire with little resistance. This was just the first of many attacks on by the Japanese on American forces. Shortly after their attack on Pearl Harbor, Japan attacked American forces on Wake Island and in the Philippines. The attack on Pearl Harbor was the reason that the U.S. entered World War II. Racism through much of the 1918 to 1941. Racism played a big part in many events in World War II. The Jewish in Europe were rounded up by Nazi German forces and sent to concentration camps where they were killed or forced into labor. Similar things happened to the Poles. The Polish were put into camps or were forced to house German soldiers. After Pearl Harbor, too, many Japanese Americans were put into camps out in the desert in Arizona and were held there until they were deemed non-hostile by the U.S. government. Expansionism. Expansionism is one of the main causes of World War II. Germany lost land in the Treaty of Versailles and wanted it back, so they did their best to obtain their land back. The Soviet Union was still looking for a warm water seaport because they did not get one in the Treaty of Versailles like they were hoping to. Japan also got greedy after the treaty because they did not receive a lot of land after World War I, even though they fought in it, like the U.S. and France and Great Britain did. Italy, just like Japan, was looking to expand its territories also as they pushed into Greece and parts of eastern Africa. And then there's a couple maps to go over. This is a map of the world in 1910, before World War I, and before the Treaty of Versailles broke up Germany and Austria-Hungary. This is a map of Europe between 1938 and 1945, after the Treaty of Versailles.